What is up, everybody? I hope you are having a fantastic evening. Let me welcome in not only 49er fans, but on Berto's side, we've got the Falcons fans as well. This is Behind Enemy Lines. We got a great game this Sunday. Cannot wait for it. Let's hit this intro, and we are going to preview this game like none other. All right, welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And as I said, it's Behind Enemy Lines. Normally we do this on Wednesday. I had a little bit of a conflict. Power went out on me. I couldn't control it. Thank goodness Berto was like, hey, listen, we can do it tomorrow night. Don't sweat it, Jessie. So here we are. Brother, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Absolutely, man. It's an honor and a privilege to be on your show, man. I really appreciate you reaching out, man. I'm so happy we get to collab and talk about our respective teams, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, let's just jump right into it. I always like to ask, what is your team doing to live up to expectations? We always have like the preseason, hey, this is what I think the record's going to be. We break down the schedule, and then you get a third of the way through the season, and it's like, well, is your team living up to those expectations? I'll give you an example. At this point in the season, I actually had the 49ers at 4-2 was my preseason prediction. Now, I had them losing to the Rams, not losing to the Jaguars, but overall the record is the same. However, I will say that expectations did shift a little bit because we've had so many damn injuries. The fact that we're 4-2 feels like a blessing, not necessarily an expectation the way that I thought it would be to this point in the season. So what about you guys? I mean, you guys have had some really good games. You just beat the Buffalo Bills. That was so clutch. People are looking at the Falcons in a whole different light. But you came off of a game a couple weeks ago where you got smacked by the Panthers 30-0.
Right.
Like, what the hell is going on here? So when you laid out this season and the expectations for it, where you're at now 6 weeks in, is this what you expected, or is it a little bit off? And just talk me through that.
No, I think it's very much where we expect it to be. Like when we were going through the preseason process with this Falcons, we knew that the running game was going to be an elite ball, elite part of our offense. And then by everybody's surprise, the defense now is starting to make their world way around the world and showing the NFL world that this defense is legit. We didn't see that in preseason at all. The offense, like I mentioned, the run game, I knew that was going to be elite. So as we were laying out the schedule and looking at the week one opponent against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, always a tough game when you're playing a in rival division opponent. We was like, all right, I think we can get them. I think we can get Tampa Bay. Things were looking good. Tampa Bay was going into that game a little hobbled in their own right, and then we just couldn't cut it. Started the season off 1-2, and then the Sunday night football matchup against the Minnesota Vikings, and it's like, oh my God. Now, this is exactly what we expected. Complementary football, not just from the offense, from the defensive side. Great win against the Brian Flores led Minnesota Vikings, and then, like you mentioned, week 3. That belt to butt behind that we took to Carolina, we were all like, okay, wait a minute. I mean, we showed promise week 1. We dominated week 2. What is this? I don't think any of us expected that. We don't know what that is. We're still trying to like uncover who showed up that day. But needless to say, at where we're at right now, I can confidently say that this was an expectation. We were looking at certain games in the first 4 games. I actually had us losing against the Commanders. Unbeknownst to the NFL world and Jaden Daniels that he was going to be out that game. We were looking for the very best out of that Washington Commanders team, and we didn't. We got Mariota, and we took care of business. We handled business. But as it looks right now, I expected a 3-2 start for our Falcons, and that's just me. That's my expectation. I really felt like, coming off this, coming into the first couple games out of the season, I felt like we can lose to Tampa Bay because it's a division rival, but that Commanders game too had something to say, and with Dan Quinn and company coming in, but where we're at right now, 3-2, I'm good. We're ready to rock, man.
Yeah, it is interesting, but you guys lost both those division games, right? So that's a little bit interesting. That's going to put you guys behind the 8 ball a little bit if you want to try to win the division late in the year. You guys beat Tampa both times last year, if I remember correctly, still lost the division. So that week 1 game, and I don't know about you, I hate division games week 1. We played Seattle week 1. Thank God that they won, but Also, it's so early in the season. Why does the NFL do this? Let's wait till at
I
least
don't
week
know.
3 to have these division games, man.
I agree. Yeah, last year was like that for us. We had back to back week 4 and week 5. We had I
Mm.
think Tampa Bay, and then we had the New Orleans Saints. So I'm in favor of that more than the early ones in week 3.
Absolutely. Well, I have a couple players that I'm just really curious about as an outsider. And I know how like 49er fans talk about these guys and fans around the NFL talk about these guys, but I want to know what Falcons fans feel about these guys. So I'm going to start with Kyle Pitts. So Kyle
Oh
Pitts,
man.
a super high draft pick. I remember there were 49er fans that wanted the 49ers to draft Pitts even after they traded all the way up to 3. It's like, oh, we don't need a quarterback. We got Jimmy
Mhm.
G. Just go get him a weapon. And
Mhm.
it was kind of crazy because
Yeah.
he looked like he was going to be an all-world talent and just explode on the scene. And that's not exactly what's happened, but he's steadily, I feel like he steadily is getting better year by year, more confident year by year.
Mhm.
But you're in a situation where the rookie contract's out, you got the 5th-year option, and you have a decision that you got to make on a guy like Kyle Pitts. What do Falcons fans feel about Kyle Pitts?
Man, it's a mixed bag, right? I think we were all as Falcon fans, we were spoiled in 2021. Sure, Kyle Pitts came in guns blazing, had a extremely accurate quarterback in Matt Ryan still towards the later part of the years, but Matt Ryan was able to showcase how to properly use Kyle Pitts, and it's something that we're struggling still to figure out. I think that we're trending in the right direction in terms of getting Kyle Pitts in the best situations in 1v1 matchups. So back to 2021 when he came in. Obviously, he broke records for tight end, well over 1,000 yards receiving in that year. That one touchdown for that 2021 season, we still catch flack over because this man has steadily has gotten TDs as the years have been going on. So, for example, 2021 just one. Then the next year, 2 touchdowns. And he's been climbing the ladder in the touchdown department. But Kyle Pitts right now, I think we're all still waiting, to see can he return back to form in 2021. And with Michael Penix now, the quarterback in Atlanta, and the connection that these two guys have had just in the later part of last year going into this year with so many games left, I think, Kyle Pitts can rebound. And to your point, it seems like he has been getting better. Yeah, yes and no, right? Because the quarterback play hasn't been consistent ever since Matt Ryan left. So he's had to deal with guys like Mariota, Taylor Heineke, Desmond Ritter. And these guys, they don't jump out the charts in terms of quarterback play or anything like that. So it's been a lot of improvised play by Kyle Pitts. And then we did lose him to a knee injury, an ACL tear. You usually rebound after 2 years. So now he's like a full year removed from that knee injury. He's rounding about, right? And this year, what we're noticing as Falcon fans is he's becoming a complete tight end. Now, not only can Kyle Pitts get it done in the pass game, but in the blocking scheme of things, he's stepping up big time. Like he's going in there, he's facing these edges, these outside linebackers that would be blitzers, and he's doing a phenomenal job just setting the edge, holding onto the edge, and keeping Michael Penix on the blind side primarily relatively clean. So we all feel like, yeah, I think Penix can rebound. I don't think he'll get to that 1,000-yard mark. I think all of us as Falcon fans, we're bracing ourselves for maybe a 800-yard receiving year, and I think we'll all be fine with that.
Well, you talked a little bit about Penix, and that's the other
Yeah.
question that I have is obviously super crazy the way that NFL draft played out. You guys spent big money on Cousins, then all of a sudden that pick comes around and you draft Michael Penix, and it's like, oh, what are we doing here? Like we supposedly went and got the quarterback. Now we're getting another quarterback. And the way that it's played out is super bizarre with Kirk Cousins, but we'll leave him on the back burner. I want to know about Penix. I'm an Oregon Duck fan, so I'm originally from Oregon. So I saw Penix up close and personal multiple times. Hell of a college player. He was so much to deal with. Very, very good. But he lost a lot of his athleticism throughout the injuries, and he was an older player. And so there was just a lot of question marks. It's been a little bit up and down, but he's starting around into form as well. What do you guys think of Penix? Go take me back to the beginning. What did you think of Penix in the beginning? And then where is he at now within this fan base?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll tell you this, in terms of the fan base, It's like we're all saying, "Damn, we finally got us a quarterback." Right? We were so spoiled with the Matt Ryan years, and really no plan behind Matt Ryan. It was everything was it was Matt Ryan a bust. It seemed like every year for the Atlanta Falcons, we never had a trustworthy backup to come in and take the reins. But now we went through our quarterback carousel, so to say, and we landed with Michael Penix. Michael Penix is everything Atlanta hoped for. Right, energetic young QB with the live arm. He could improvise in the pocket. He's mobile at somewhat. Not as MV7 when he was around back in the day. He's not like that, but he's good enough to still extend plays, and that's just an overall metric that we've sorely missed in Atlanta. And just in off on offense overall, right? Some people will call Matt Ryan statuesque because he was a pocket passer, and we get an element of excitement with Michael Penix, who can take off and get the would-be first downs. But Michael Penix, to this fan base, man, he's everything, man. Yeah, you see so many number 9 jerseys in the stand. Everybody's do-ragged out, and it's fun times in Atlanta, man. But the player, right? When yes, the draft pick did catch a lot of people by surprise, but we owe Terry Fontenot as a fan base the flowers that he deserves, because he said it out. Him and Coach Raheem Morris said it out. We need sustainability at the quarterback position. Sure, we signed that man Kirk to a bag, but we didn't know that he was the wheels were gonna fall off on him. But we had a contingency plan, and that being Michael Penix. So when he came in for that Giants game and he showcased the arm talent for the world to see, he was making some electric throws. I'm like, man, this kid may arrive, sooner rather than later. And to finish out the way that he did at 1 and 2, it left us with hope, and that hope is now trickling into this year. He's been good. Consistency is I think the factor with Michael Penix. This is only his 9th start in the league. So as he piles up the games to his resume, I think Michael Penix is just going to grow as a professional. Already the maturity there, just how he carries himself professionally. The best of Michael Penix we'll enjoy as the week goes on. But as of right now, he's doing a phenomenal job just game managing and doing what Zach needs him to do in this offense.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like a little bit of a miscalculation when it comes to that quarterback situation. To me, it seemed like, all right, we're going to pay Kirk Cousins. He's going to be the bridge guy for a year. Then we'll bring in Penix, because Penix couldn't sit too long. He is a little bit older. We'll bring in Penix, and then we'll have this trade asset in Kirk Cousins. And it just fell apart for Kirk. You had to play Penix probably before you wanted to. And then here you are stuck with this player on the bench because he does these fully guaranteed contracts. Like, what are you going to do with it? So
dude's a thief. But if I may, right, the Kirk Cousins situation, right? I was one of the ones thinking, oh man, he's not going to see the field anymore. Might as well trade him. But how valuable it is to have a vet quarterback that has played in big games, has multiple wins under his belt, to just take under the wing, so to say, and just see and show Michael Penix different ways of how he sees the game. Like there was a clip from Monday night where he showed him, he's standing, he's hovering right over Mike, and he's telling him, look, you got to look at the safety and what he's doing. You might have an outlet there, and it's just moments like that. It's what you appreciate. Yeah, you kind of tend to forget what we're paying him, which is a boatload of cash, right, that we can utilize for other players, not just with the Falcons now that are due for contract extensions, but just in the future overall. But just what he means to this QB locker room, I think speaks volumes. And I think that's a part where Terry and company they probably wasn't in a rush to get rid of Kirk, because there was so much value there. And if you look at the Falcons QB room, dare I say, it's probably one of the top QB rooms around the NFL. It was a department where it was last for many years. Now to elevate to one of the top rooms around the NFL, you kind of have to appreciate where Kirk is right now in his career.
Yeah, most certainly. And he's a consummate pro. Like, he's one of those guys that will do that. Some veterans won't be that way. And he certainly is. So I didn't think about it like that. I think it's a good spin on things, and I'm sure it's helping Penix grow. All right, let's get into this game, man. So I know that the 49ers have a ton of injuries that we're working through. I'll go through it briefly. But you guys have a ton of injuries on the offensive line that I'm really curious about. And I'm sure there's some other things as well. So to me right now, Brock Purdy and Mac Jones have both been limited in practice. It sounds like Mac Jones is going to get the start for one more week before they bring Brock back. They really don't want to rush him back right now. After all, he's the guy that they paid, so they want to protect their investment. George Kittle's been practicing all week, coming back from that hamstring injury, but there's even talks that Kyle Shanahan might hold him out for one more week, so we'll see about that. Ricky Pearsall hasn't practiced all week, so he's likely not going to be there. Jawan Jennings has been there in a limited capacity. I believe that he will play. Marquez Valdez-Scantling seems to be like he's going to be out, which means the rookie Watkins is probably going to be making his season debut. And of course, we know that Bosa and Warner are done for the season. So that's the big news for the 49ers and what we have injury-wise going into this. But the Falcons have some injuries of their own, especially along that offensive line. So talk to me about not only that, but just the injury report as a whole and how you see it playing out. Who do you think is going to be in and who's going to be out?
So the biggest one for us right now is our Iron Man and Jake Matthews, man, the longest tenured Atlanta Falcon. You know, Iron Man in his right, hasn't missed a game since 2014. Did have his ankle rolled up on Monday Night Football, which led to Michael Jarrell, a offensive tackle we traded with the Seattle Seahawks in the offseason. He might be penciled in as the starter come Sunday night. He will play the left side, the left tackle side. On the other side, obviously we have Elijah Wilkinson, who has played phenomenal in Caleb McGarry's absent. That was a spot where a lot of Falcon fans were screaming, saying, "Listen, we got to get a top tier guy with the right side being the blind side now." And Elijah Wilkinson, having not played on the either bookend spot since his early days with the Denver Broncos, we called on him. He's been doing fantastic. So that's the biggest one right now. Of course, we also have Darnell Mooney, who has a hamstring injury. He did return to practice today, albeit in a limited capacity. I think this one will go all the way until game time. That might be a game time decision. Also coming back, LaCale London, who hurt his tricep. He plays on the interior of this Falcons defensive line alongside Taquan Graham, whose 21-day window from returning from a short IR stint has opened. He did practice last week. The Falcons elected to hold him back, but he's trending in the right direction to making his season debut on Sunday Night Football versus the 49ers. Savigny, what's going on, my brother? But yeah, those are the concerns right now going into the game. Relatively, the Falcons, thank God, has been healthy. Has been pretty healthy. So those are the guys that we're looking for to get back on Sunday Night Football.
So you guys are going to be without both starting tackles, though, it sounds like.
No. So Elijah Wilkinson, he's a go. The concern may be Jake Matthews, and because the ankle got rolled up on, he didn't practice today. We got to take it, day by day to see. That could also be another game time decision for Sunday night. But right now, Michael Jarrell is getting all the first team reps right now.
Okay. How's he? Did he fill in admirably? I mean, it sounds like he played okay, but it's obviously not your left tackle. Like,
no,
it's a big deal.
It's not our left tackle. Buffalo did a good job picking up on that. Hence the reason why the Falcons, I think, only scored 3 points in the second half of that game, and that's when Jake was out of the game. So Buffalo was able to do something schematically on that left side, to flush Penix out of the pocket in some instances, or just rush for some errant throws. I know that he took 2 sacks, and I believe both of those sacks came on that left side once Jake was out of the game. So it's something to keep an eye on for the Falcons and also for the 49ers in a competitive edge going into Sunday night.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, give me there's always a player on every team that is just loved by the fan base. You guys know that this player makes an impact week in and week out, but he's not necessarily known around the league. Like, if you're not a Falcons fan, you may not have heard of this guy, or maybe you have, but you don't know exactly how good this player is. Give me the name of a guy that you guys are excited about, that maybe we wouldn't necessarily know about, that's making an impact on this team.
So when free agency started, there was a void at the linebacker spot, and that was voided by Nate Landman, who now plays for the Rams. And we
Mm.
signed Divine Diablo from the Las Vegas Raiders, and that young man has been gold in every sense for this Falcons defense. Man, he has been. Oh man, he's been everything. This is a young man that thus far 20 solo tackles, 6 quarterback hurries, in coverage, he's only
Ooh.
allowed, I think, four catches on 7 targets for only 40 yards. This guy has been it just been all world in the coverage world, and that's exactly what was missed on this Falcons defense last year. Divine Diablo now paired with Jeff Ulbrich, and this is such a Jeff Ulbrich signing because Jeff Ulbrich covets these safeties that convert to linebackers. He had it with Foye Olukun his first go around with the Falcons. He had it with the Jets and Jermaine Sherwood. Now he has it with Divine Diablo, and it feels like the defense. The defense does it. It's not centralized around him, but it just has a feeling like that's the guy you look at on defense for our Falcons when you're going to scheme up and match up against to take some elements away from this Falcons #1 rated defense.
I completely forgot that you guys got Ulbrich this offseason. It's
Yeah.
it's basically him versus Sala. Like that's gonna be a fun. I mean, obviously they're
Oh,
not
it's
gonna
gonna be
match up
such a
against
fun.
each other direct, but
Mhm.
this is the underling going against his guy. Like this is gonna be
Student and
really, really
pupil.
cool. Yeah, I love this, man. All right, we got some guys too, and I could go a bunch of different directions, but I think this week I'm
Yep.
gonna go with Renardo Green, a corner as
Corner.
well,
Mhm.
opposite of Diamador Lenore. Renardo Green, last year he was a rookie. He had some good moments where he flashed. This year though, he had an injury in the offseason that kind of slowed him down, and in the first probably 3-4 weeks of the season it was very, very touch and go. Man, is he going to be a good player, is he not? The last couple weeks he's really come alive, and it started in that Rams game. They had to play Devontae Adams and Puka Nakua, and he had his work cut out for him. He played an extremely good game, and then he followed it up this last week doing the exact same thing. Ronaldo Green is starting to hold his own as well. So having that guy, like you talked about with Diablo, that is opposite of our #1 corner and Diamador Lenore, has been super, super clutch. And the secondary for the 49ers was a big question mark. I would say more so for the safety position, but just
Mhm.
overall, it's like, man, can these guys cover? And it's more important than ever because now that Fred Warner's out, the middle of the field could be open. We've got Bosa, so that not getting the pressure the way that we're used to. These guys have to cover for a lot longer. And since Bosa's been out, oddly enough, Ronaldo Green has played better. And you would think, all right, well, if he's struggling and
Mhm.
now he's got to cover for longer, maybe it could get worse. That has not been the case. He's been a really, really good player the last couple of weeks. We hope that can continue this week, but he's certainly on the rise for sure for the 49ers. All right, brother.
Compelling stuff.
Let's hit this Sleeper app real quick. So, Last Second Sports is brought to you by Sleeper. You get a 100% deposit match of up to $100 when you use promo code LSS. The link is in the description, pinned at the top there. Also, if you have ever thought about doing a daily fantasy or playing more or less, Sleeper right now, when you use my promo code LSS, is going to give you a free $20. You don't even need to make a deposit. Take advantage of it. See if you can go get some winnings with your free $20. Have fun with it. There is nothing that's holding you back. Free $20. Don't even make a deposit. Definitely jump on that now. But with that being said, 49ers, Atlanta, I want us both to make a couple picks here. First of all, we're always going to take our freebie. Bo Nix freebie. All he needs to do is pass for a half a yard. That's money. And this is what I love about Sleeper, man. Every week they give you a freebie. So we're taking that this week. You tell me what catches your eye as we
Oh
go
my
through this whole
God.
thing.
That Bijan one right there, man.
Okay. You going more on this one?
Oh man. So is that for receptions there? Receiving
That's
yards?
receiving yards. Yeah, 37 and a
Okay.
half receiving yards.
So right now, Bijan Robinson averages 14.1 yards per catch for running backs, and it's going to be
No
a
Fred
tough.
Warner, man. Come on. This
I
should
mean,
be, yeah.
no Fred Warner, but Tatum Bethune steps in, D Winter
Yeah.
steps in, and maybe you can confirm this, but if Tatum Bethune is going to have the green dot this week, and for the 49ers defense.
Most likely, yeah.
Most likely. I mean, he filled in pretty good. I mean, but it's Bijan Robinson, so I have to take the over on this one, man.
Listen, he filled in well, but that was more in the run game. He was
Yeah.
lost a little bit in the pass game. Now, a week to kind of get ready, maybe that'll change things up. But Bijan Robinson's one of the best doing it in the world. I feel very, very good about this one. So, okay. Let's see here. I don't know if you know this with Sleeper. Check this one out. So, I just found this out. You can tease things up or down. So, like Penix, for example, we may not feel good about 225 passing yards, but I think we both feel good about 150 pass yards.
Oh,
yeah?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
Let's tease that one down. All right. Let's this George Kittle one's really, really interesting.
Drake London. What says Drake London? What is the
79 and a half receiving yards.
Coming off a 10 reception, 140 yard game. He's doing it. He's waking up. He started off slow, but now I feel
we got Pitts at 42 and a half though too. So if you like that one more, you let me know.
No, you know what? I didn't see the Pitts one. Give me Pitts at 42 and a half.
All right, we'll go more on that one. And then listen, I hate to do it, but I'm less on CMC. It hits every single week. So we're gonna go there. And then I'm gonna go more on Jennings. He threw a fit last week. He's got this injury. I think they're gonna feed him a little bit. I'm gonna go more on that. All right, so here's the entry. We got $10 down. We're gonna 14 times that. It's gonna put us down for $141 on the line. So if you want to tail us, you can. You can fade us either way. Make sure you take advantage using promo code LSS. Get that free 20 bones, man. You don't even have to make a deposit. It is that easy. All right, brother. Let's get back into it. All right. I want to know as the trade deadline approaches, what are the Falcons missing? What are you guys hoping to go get in the trade deadline? Are you going to be buyers? Are you going to be sellers? What are the rumors going around? Like, what are the Falcons looking for as this thing approaches here?
According to Falcons Twitter, the name Jalen Waddle is being thrown around a lot for Atlanta, and I don't know if that's a match made in heaven for the Falcons. I don't know the contractual situation with Waddle, but we have a wide receiver that's about to get paid in Drake London. Now, do you want to elevate that room and having two of the highest paid receivers on the offense? I don't know. With so many other contractual bids we have coming up, it might be safer bet to just elevate some of the guys that we have in house. I think we're all waiting on to see if Mooney can catch on and see what he can if he could round out. He started the season very, very slow. He's been dealing with multiple injuries. We still don't know the status for Sunday night, but we need him to come back. If we win against the 49ers, if there's anything that we can add to this Falcons team, I need a nose tackle for this defense. This Falcons defense right now currently sits sixth best in the NFL third down defense. So we're catching NFL offenses, and less than favorable third down situations, those 3rd and 1s, those 3rd and shorts, 3rd and 2s. We're facing now more 3rd and long situations, but we need more. And I feel like we've been catching a break on that because low key, the Falcons can be had in the run game. This is a Falcons run defense that ranks 16th in the league, and we're a bit small, in the interior of this Falcons defense. So I think, just a bona fide nose tackle to just take some of the pressure off of James Pierce and Jalen Walker, our 2 first-round picks, who have been doing fantastic. But maybe we can have more impact coming from those guys due to a bigger body, that commands more double teams. So if anything, I think a nose tackle will be just fine for the Atlanta Falcons coming into.
Is there anybody you guys have in mind by chance?
Oh man, that's a great question. I've heard some rumblings, and if the Tennessee Titans continue to lose, Tavondre Sweat is a name. I can't go I would like Tavondre Sweat. Sure, Jeffrey Simmons is all world, but he has a hefty contract, and with the Falcons money situation right now, we would have to obviously clear some of the books, maybe financially tie ourselves to players we weren't looking to tie ourselves to just now. I think the safer bet would be like a guy like Tavondre Sweat. You know, the guy came out of Texas. Obviously, he offers a little bit in the pass rush department, but he's known for just being a clogger in the middle of a defense. And that, for me, would be an attractive piece to add onto this Falcons front seven.
Steve-O has a clarifying question when it comes to sleepers. So you have two options available, Steve-O. You can, if you want the deposit match, yes, you would have to put your own money in, or you can just do the free 20 and you don't have to make a deposit at all. You can do both and get $220 for putting 100 in. So you have multiple options there, Steve-O. But yes, if you want the deposit match, you have to deposit your own money as well. On the 49ers side, we have a lot of fans have been clamoring for an edge rusher. Sounds like the 49ers have called about Trey Hendrickson. Of course, everybody seems to be calling about Hendrickson. Right now, the Bengals are unwilling to move him. And who knows what he's going to go for. My issue with going with Hendrickson is he's going to be 32 next year. He's not under contract after this year. Do you really want to give up, say, a second-round pick just to watch him go in free agency? And if you're doing that, how much are you sacrificing in the future in a year that you're probably not going to win a Super Bowl anyways? Plus, losing Bosa was one thing, and if you could replace him with Hendrickson, sure. But now that you've lost Fred Warner, to me, that really changes the outlook of this season as far as what the ceiling is. I think there are some lesser known guys that if we want to go for an edge rusher that I think are available on the Jets, for example. They've got Johnson, they've got Will McDonald. I think you could get either one of those guys for a much lesser price, and they could be a part of the future as well. It doesn't just have to be a one-year rental. Robert Saleh is obviously familiar with these guys. So those are the guys that I'm probably looking at. I know that like Kayvon Thibodeau is another one that people want. I don't know that the Giants are going to be willing to sell.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't mind being sellers ourselves. I look at a guy like Jawan Jennings, who I just said is going to get more than the 42.5 with sleeper, but the way he complained this offseason, knowing he's not going to come back, he's acting almost like he thinks he's a wide receiver 1, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's a really good wide receiver 3. But you can't have an attitude like that on the sideline for a wide receiver 3. If he wants out of here, ship him to the Giants. Go get yourself a 5th-round pick. They could use a receiver for their young rookie and Jackson Dart, and then wipe your hands of it. So I'm open to really anything as a 49er fan, but there's a lot of possibilities for sure.
What's your take on Kayvon Thibodeau? Kayvon Thibodeau coming from what, the Oregon Ducks, right?
Oregon Ducks, yeah.
You know a thing or two about him. I saw something online where Jawan Jennings was actually a offer piece to the Giants to obtain Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't know if that gets it done. I mean, I think that's
they would need more.
Crazy.
I think they'd probably have to offer like a 4th at least to get it done as well. Yeah.
What would Kayvon Thibodeau mean to obviously this defense? You know, you guys, of course, Fred Warner, missing out on him. Joey Bosa, Mykel Williams, really, he has 1 sack on the season. So what's your take? Would you like that pairing of a Thibodeau and Mykel Williams? And if acquiring a Thibodeau, would that make life a little bit easier on the other side for Mykel Williams, a high draft pick for you guys?
Yeah, it most certainly would make it easier. And what I like about Thibodeau, much in the way that I like about the Jets players I mentioned, is that he's a part of the future too. So, right now they've got Huff, who's basically on a 1-year rental deal. He's going to be gone. I really see the future of Mykel Williams kind of more that Eric Armstead role where, he starts out as an edge now, but he's only 21 and he's a massive human being. He's going to continue to grow. And once he does, I think he's a guy that you could slide inside and he could wreak a lot of havoc because he's already as strong as an ox. I mean, there are times where he moves inside, he gets double teamed and he's pushing guys backwards. Like he doesn't move back even when double teamed. He holds his own now at 21 years old, playing defensive tackle at times. So I think they could move him to the interior. You could have Thibodeau on one side, you could have Bosa on the other, and I think that would be a hell of a pass rush. Now, I will say back then it was between Aiden Hutchinson and Thibodeau. I knew that Aiden Hutchinson was going to be the clear better player. Thibodeau just disappeared at times, but I think he can be a contributing factor for sure. He certainly has some talent, and he brings a style that is perfect opposite of Bosa. He's more of that D Ford type of player. And when this defense was at its best, they had Bosa on one side, D Ford is the speed rusher on the other. Then they had Buckner and Armstead on the inside, which I think Michael Williams could be one part of that. So I think that could be a great future. I'm willing to do it as long as they don't have to give up too much to make it happen.
Another one for the 49er faithful too. Where is your patience level with Brandon Ayuk? Then this is a wide receiver that got paid. And
Loaded question, brother.
Yeah, man. What's going on with Brandon Ayuk? Will you guys see him this year, or are you guys throwing in the white flag and saying, okay, we're just done with this guy?
I think it depends on the segment of the fan base. To me, Brandon Ayuk is a super talented player. I love Brandon Ayuk, but there has been a rift, it seems like, between he and the organization ever since before signing that new deal. The story goes that Lynch was essentially on the phone. They had a deal in place with the Steelers. Ayuk finally says, all right, I'll take the deal. Shanahan rushes to the Lynch's office like, hey, hold the phone. We're going to sign Ayuk. And it seems like ever since then, it's been a little contentious. Ayuk obviously has a catastrophic knee injury. But some of the things I've been hearing behind the scenes, and listen, I don't know this to be factual, but the source that I get it from is very, very accurate, or has been in the past. So I'll throw it out there anyways. I've heard that Brandon Ayuk is healthy. He wants to play. He's mad that they're not letting him play. And I don't know why that is. Is that because they're shopping him, or is that because they just want to make sure he's fully healthy? I don't know the answer to that. Hell, I don't even know that it's true. But if that's the case, and he's frustrated with not playing and he thinks he's ready to go, it seems like these two parties, and Ayuk and the 49ers, just cannot get on the same page, man. And it's been a full year plus of just contentiousness after contentiousness. So I don't know what's going on, man. There's also rumors that he might not play at all this year. That came out from NBC Sports Bay Area. So I don't know what to expect with it. I really don't.
Yeah, and here's another one. So obviously, right, with all the the injuries that piled up.
Let me clarify this real quick, because I saw Steve-O say this last night. That is unequivocally false. In fact, I said that his injury was very, very real. You might be mixing me up with someone else, but other people were saying that was the case, and I was against that. So that was not what I said. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm gonna paint this one, and we don't know. I'm sure that we're gonna touch on it as we get closer to the end of the show. The 49ers, let's say, win on Sunday night, bringing you guys to 5-2 with all the injuries, that have piled up on the defensive side. Is there an attraction to add more offensive pieces to at least make it where you're outscoring teams, and it makes it bend but don't break style defense for Robert Saleh the rest of the year?
Gosh, I gotta say no to that. The way that I see it is Kyle Shanahan is supposed to be this special play caller. You've signed your guy who you've deemed as the franchise quarterback in Brock Purdy. You've spent big money on Ayuk and Kittle, CMC and Trent. You should have enough to make this thing go, not to mention a first-round draft pick you just spent in Ricky Pearsall. So, no, they've got enough. They've got to be able to make this work. If they spend anywhere, to me, it's got to be on the defensive side. Go help Robert Saleh out, because you can only scheme so much without having Bosa and Warner. You got to, if you're going to help one side, it's got to be that side, in my opinion.
Yeah. I kind of envisioned, a Shanahan world right now as we're all living in, or the 49er fan base. If you look back at the 2016 Falcons and the way he was able to just orchestrate that offense for Matt Ryan, I think Matt Ryan had 12 touchdowns to 12 different receivers. That way he just spread the ball out so evenly. I felt like maybe that's an avenue where Kyle could potentially tap back into, just load up the offense. You guys have two quarterbacks that they move the ball efficiently. Maybe Mac Jones does it a little bit better than Brock. I mean, that can be debatable or not, but there's definitely the skill set there to make that happen. But I guess with your take that you would just rather have the defense, I think you answered that. That was going to be my next thing. Can Kyle Shanahan just work the magic that he has before in the past as an offensive guru?
He's going to have to. The problem is they're really struggling to run the football, and we know that that's what Kyle prefers. He likes to build the pass off of the run game, and so he has to be in his bag a little bit. He's using that short pass game, going horizontal versus vertical, and using that as an extension of the run game. But right now, the offensive line isn't doing a great job of blocking. To me, CMC has clearly lost a step, at least as a runner, and they're not willing to play. It's crazy because we talk about assets spent. They trade up to go get Isaac Guerrero last year. They trade for Brian Robinson in the offseason. They draft Jordan James. None of them are running the ball. It's just the CMC show. It's like, well, why are we spending all these assets on guys that you're just not even going to give the rock to? So CMC is struggling, the offensive line struggling, and so they're having to get creative. Now, luckily, CMC is still very dynamic as a pass catcher, and so they're using him. But this offense is not what we are used to seeing, at least as 49er fans. We know that run game was a big, big piece of that. I do have a question for you, and I should ask this to everybody because I'm known as like a Brock Purdy hater within this fan base, which is funny to me. But either way, as a Falcons fan, what's your thoughts of Brock Purdy? When we paid Brock Purdy, we were like, I don't know if I'd have done that, and kind of watching it play out. Like, be honest about it.
I just felt like, he fell victim to the system. It's a Kyle Shanahan thing. Again, I got to go back to the Matt Ryan situation, right? What he was able to do with Matt Ryan in just a year span, just elevated his game, times 100. And he did that with Brock Purdy, being Mr. Irrelevant, the last player taken in the draft. I didn't have Brock Purdy even drafted when I did my quarterback evaluations that year. I had him going undrafted, but I just felt like he fell into the right situation. He fell into the right system. The guidance and the tutelage of Kyle Shanahan just speaks volumes across the league. But did it deserve that money? No, man. I think you guys spent. It was too steep, man. It was much too steep, man. But no. But Brock Purdy, man, he can still win some games, man. In the league, I just don't think he's elite, man. And I think people, just painted him in that area, like, oh no, this is the next guy. This is going to be elite. He did show some signs, but I'm sorry, I just don't think he's that. He's all that, man.
So basically, you feel how I feel, which is great. Okay, all right. Samir says, I'm not high on Penix. What do you think he does well? Give me something to look for during the game that might change my mind.
Oh man, great question. With some of the inconsistencies he has in ball placement, just making that tough throw over a linebacker. We saw him do that in his last 3 games last year. Well, actually, when he made his debut versus the Giants, he had such a beautiful touch pass over the linebacker there for a long gain. I just haven't been able to see that much this year, and that's something that I know that he's working on, and we're starting to see that a little bit more. So I if anything, to look forward to, just a touch on his throws and how they're accurately placed. So that's something you should look forward to in this Niners game on Sunday.
Yeah, I definitely can second that as an Oregon Duck fan. The way that Michael Penix, when he's in full flow, I don't know how often it's happened in the NFL. I really haven't watched a ton of him, so I can't say either way. But when you watch him as a college prospect, he can make all of the throws, but he knows when to use touch, when to use speed, when to use pace, and he throws a beautiful football, man. He really does.
The deep ball too. We saw it in the Commanders game.
Ball. My gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and we saw it come to life in the Commanders game, and that one was more of one of these to the critics because he was being thrown under the fire. Oh, he can't complete the ball down the middle of the field, and we were tearing the Commanders up in the middle of the field, and then hitting them deep. We started doing that too. But for me, I still go back to the touch. That's where I think that's going to impress. As time goes on and he gets better with his ball placement, it's the touch that he puts on the football over the defenders.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Samir has another one. He says, is Algier the most underrated running back too in the NFL?
Oh man, I love this question, man. I love Tyler Algier, dude. Love Tyler Algier. I want him to get more touches, and great things happen when he lands in that 12 to 16 touch category for this Falcons run offense. They don't do it enough. But to the question at hand, hell yeah, he's an underrated running back. Number two, man, he's a number one on most teams. Low key, I feel like this is Michael Turner 2.0 with Tyler Algier, man, in the Falcons uniform.
Ooh, Turner. I love it, man. That's a throwback right there.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely
man.
love that. Love that. All right. One more before we get to our prediction here. What's the strength of the Falcons team? If just to an outsider, you say, hey, we got one strength and this is what it is. What would you say it is about the Falcons?
It is our run game, our dominant run game right
Mm.
now. The flow that we've have been putting on the field with Bijan. And, I just mentioned Tyler wanting him with more touches. Oddly enough, the three victories that we have, both, this offense has sprinted to well over 200 plus yards in the run game. So if there's one strength, it is the run game right now. Right now, no one's doing it better than Bijan Robinson and this Falcons run offense, man. So it's the run game for us.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I would say the 49ers, I can't point to like a unit right now. I mean, like I said, we're not running the ball well. The offensive line's not great. We got injuries on defense. But I will say that we're kind of like the Terminator, man. We just keep sticking around, and the biggest strength right now is just the resilience of this team as a whole. I mean, the way that they battled through injury, the way that they just stick around in these games, and ultimately the way that they've been winning these games is because they just stick around, they don't shoot themselves in the foot. They let the other team do that, and then they take advantage of it. And when it doesn't happen, obviously they lose, and that's how we got a couple. But ultimately, man, they're gritty as hell. And that's one thing that I love about this team, because I feel like it's been missing even in the Super Bowl years. I don't think the 49ers had that grittiness, because they were so talented that they would just blow teams out. And then when they
Yeah.
would get in these dog fights, these phone booth fist fights, that's when they would kind of get punched in the mouth and maybe stand down a little bit. Not this year, man. These guys are so tough, they're so resilient, and win, lose, or draw, they're going to be in the game. They're gonna
Yeah.
make it scrappy. You're in for a fight when you play these 49ers. So that's
I
what
can
I love
definitely
about
see
this
that.
team, and that's the strength for sure.
Respect that. Absolutely.
All right, brother. It's time, man. It's time
Oh
to
man,
make
let's
a
do it.
score
Oh,
prediction.
oh, brother.
Listen, the Falcons are on the road. Primetime game. We absolutely love this one. Back-to-back primetime games for y'all. So
Yeah.
traveling out west, how do you see this one going down on Sunday? Do you have the Falcons winning? You have the Niners winning in this one? What's your score prediction and how you see it going down?
So before I get to the score prediction, man, I mentioned this the other night, man. I said, listen, man, there's no worse a thing than playing a team that has everything to prove. And for me,
Mm.
this Niners game is low-key a trap game for our Atlanta Falcons. And
Okay,
folks
okay.
were like, "Oh my God, they're 4-2. How could you say that? Why am I not allowed to say that?" This is a 4-2 team that's still trying to stay relevant within the NFC West. They're currently number one. They have teams breathing down their necks in the Rams, and
Seahawks.
the Seahawks there. The Cardinals are what they are. So there's no challenge there. But you guys got to try to stay and maintain that number one seeding for that number one spot for right now. So I said that I caught hell, but I still went with my Falcons.
Okay, okay.
And then I saw that you guys, of course, 30-19 loss to the Buccaneers. Obviously, everything kind of just went off rails when Warner went down. It's still Shanahan. I just don't trust Shanahan. Shanahan always has something up his sleeve, so it's like shit. But like I mentioned, I still took my Falcons, and I went 30-24. I'm going 30-24 on the road.
Whew. Okay. Okay. Um wow. All right. I think again, I think it's gonna be tight. Do you no, let me ask you this, because there's two types of 30-24s that this could be, by the way. This could be the 49ers are down and they kind of make a late push to make it seem closer, or it's like, hey, this is a close game. Atlanta scores a late touchdown to kind of win this thing.
Mhm.
How do you see the flow of the game going?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think that's how it can go. I think it could be a game where they're there, they're neck and neck, and I see the Falcons pulling away a little bit, but to have the 49ers just make a last ditch effort that forces Atlanta to go with the go ahead touchdown and call game. That's the way I kind of envision this game going.
Okay. Okay. I think it's going to be tight all the way through. I really do. And the Falcons, I keep holding on. I don't know exactly who they are, right? Like there's a ton of talent on this team, but I can't unsee 30-0 on the road against the Panthers. Like I can't unsee it. As good as it looked at home against the Bills. And so that's maybe it's a little bit of hopium on my part. Like, okay, they're just a different team on the road. I also see the trap game aspect where it's like you just came off of a huge primetime win playing the Buffalo Bills, who is considered one of the better teams in the league. And the way that you guys really, not even low key, you just dominated that game through and through. And so is that who you are, or are you the Panthers Falcons? I don't know exactly. But I do, what I do think is going to happen is that this game is going to be close regardless. So I look at this, I think the 49ers are, hopefully they get Kittle back. That's going to help things out. Not only will it help out as far as, you know, Mac Jones and helping the other receivers out, but he's such a phenomenal blocker. Hopefully it helps CMC out as well, because he certainly could use some of that help. The 49ers are going to have to win this the way that they beat the Rams, in my opinion. They're going to have to play ball control. They're going to have to go sideline to sideline, play a little bit of keep away, make sure we don't have any turnovers, and then hope that they can force a turnover somehow, some way, and that will be the difference in this game. I do think the 49ers come away with the win. I think it's super tight, like I said. I'm going to go 27-23 Niners, and it's one of those things where I think the 49ers are going to kick a late field goal. They'll be up one. They'll kick a late field goal. The Falcons are going to have their chance with about 2.5 minutes or so left, and Penix will come up just short, and ultimately the 49ers will win the game, and that's how I see it going.
Oh, man. Love it. Yeah, man, you just wrote a story, brother. That was dope.
Now, listen, Falcons fans, because I see you guys in the chat. You're definitely going to hate this. Feel free to come troll us if we lose. And I encourage my guys to do the same. So make sure, give a shout out to your channel real quick so that they can find you. And listen, win, lose, or draw, if my guys can go flood your chat after the game, maybe talk a little bit of trash, I'm sure you'll take it over there. What's the channel, man?
So yes, I'm on 95 North Falcons Talk Show. That's the platform on YouTube. I will be live streaming Sunday night, so you'll get all this energy on Sunday night, man. So hoping the Falcons come with a W. And before we part, this coincidentally, right, Sunday Night Football matchup. The last time we played a Sunday Night Football matchup was against the Vikings, and oh, by the way, the BTA matchup was against the Carolina Panthers. So this here, if the Falcons do win, I feel like, okay, we've grown up and we can finally put in the rear view that Carolina game being just a blimp in our schedule. So it's this game here. If we win it, it's going to tell a lot about this Falcons team, the grit, the maturity, where Raheem has this team going forward mentally when we face matchups down the line, because injuries across the league are going to happen. This is football. But if we come across another opponent, with the injuries piled up as they are for the 49ers, and we win, then Raheem clearly has this team thinking in the right direction. That is it's the next matchup on the schedule. We got to go in there and take care of business.
Absolutely. Listen, Berto, I appreciate you so much for joining me. I told you before the show started that this is like one of my favorite shows to do, because I love educating our fan base on the opposing team. I love it when whoever comes on allows this to stream on their channel as well, because I like the cross education. This was one of my favorite shows doing this. I don't say this every week. It was phenomenal, man. You represented very, very well for your Falcons. Good luck this Sunday. Good luck on your channel.
Thank you.
Everybody in the chat, enjoy your weekend. I'll be back Sunday for the post game. Stay blessed. Much love. Peace.